Hi, welcome back to the channel. It's Lionel Tech Lead and partner Westvault, and today I'm doing a code, actually answering a question on Stack Overflow that affected me personally. To return, how do I get the response for the async call? And this cost me, you won't believe this, almost 3 hours, and I had to go to sleep. Question is, how do I return the response from an async call? Now, this is what usually people do. They have a function, they run Ajax into it, they get a response, and they try to return the response, but they get nothing. Okay? What happens is that it gets undefined over here. Okay? This is the issue that people normally. I had been struggling with this one just using front end stuff, no Node.js, just vue.js, right? And somehow you cannot get anything inside here. What do you do with that? How do you work with this? So I did it for about 3 hours, and I was been struggling at this until I figured out what was going wrong, right? So I want to talk to you guys on this video on what my solution is and why is it like this. Okay, now the main thing about this, don't explain why you cannot obtain all the stuff inside this callback function over here, right? You just cannot get hold of it. Now the reason is that it is result.data is this is a promise. Okay, I really don't like the terminology in JavaScript, but what it is it is something that is sort of unstable that can change at any point of time. And so an example is, could you go to my house and pick up an Amazon package? Statement 2, Amazon person is coming at 2 o'clock to pick up the package. So what happens if you come to my house at 1 o'clock, right? There is no package. He hasn't delivered it yet. If you come at 2:30, there is a package. So I return the package. But we refer to the package as the so-called promise of package. Okay? So every time I want to try to log the variable, right? This is happening at the same time. It's returning an undefined. So there are a couple of strategies to deal with this. The first one is only things that appear inside the callback exist. It's crazy. It's inception level thing, you know, like if it's only at that point of time they exist. So what you can do is, the most common one is, if you're not doing too much calculations with it, is that you turn it into HTML at that point of time. So you use jQuery and then you type .html and or .text and change that into a variable in your DOM. So basically it makes the callback and it goes and changes this into that variable. So that is one of the best ways you can use it. You can do all your calculations within this callback function. Okay, everything that happens will happen within the callback function. So that's the first one. Remember that this is the magical promise. It is there, it may not be there. It's shoulders cat thing, where it's there, it's not there. The other way you can do it is to use a virtual DOM like vue.js. Now, how vue.js works, right, is vue.js creates a variable that is actually this responsive mutable variable. So it's as live and real-time as everything else. It's two-way binding. So this means that anytime this changes, that variable changes, and you can use it in that mutable state. Okay, and this is one of the reasons why I never encountered this problem, because when I use the variable like this, right, I always use this powerful mutable thing, and I never had any problems, because look, at the end of the day, you pull it in terms of the complexity, you pull the Ajax statement and then you change it one time. But JavaScript doesn't know it's one time. I mean, this could be an ongoing process. So what I did was I linked by using the data variable over here. I linked it over to into the self. So inside this function, right, you cannot use the word this because it will refer to this itself. It's very Englishy, very complicated, right? So you have to use this thing called self that's referred to this, and then you say, look, put self dot this and link it with my variable. So now you're linking a mutable variable to your callback variable so that you can use everything in real time. And then you can then go up there and put this variable in there. So this is a really interesting problem. It's very difficult to debug because you need to think in 3D time. When something's there, it's not there. It's not blocking where it's like a list. Point one is before point two. And thinking about how to solve this, right? A lot of people down here don't write the correct solution. They're not getting at the right problem. I mean, they do it in a very complicated way. I think this is a much better way to explain this, and I hope if you run into this problem in the future that you will basically be able to. It's very hard to explain these kind of problems. Okay, so happy Sunday, and that's the bottom line because Tech Lead said so.